everybody. My name is Steve. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm currently doing education. 20 years of experience in Asia. Did 5 startups there. I'm currently doing education. But my background's enterprise software to digital marketing. So I'm here to be a judge today. Thanks.
Hey guys, my name is Yogi Sikri. I work for Hewlett Packard Enterprise. I run the industrial IoT and mobility services program within HPE, and I'm here to see some of the startups.
Good. I'm another judge today. My name is Jim Flagging. Been in the Valley since the late 80s, which I guess just means I'm old. The first chapter was an executive in global telecommunication firms, predominantly on the data side, data communications and applications. The second stage was CEO of different venture-backed companies, growth stage companies for about 15 years. So I had the good fortune to go through buying and selling businesses. In this current chapter, I'm both an investor, board member advisor, and then growing an advisory firm around security and risk management. If you've heard of the Chertoff Group, everything that we do is focused on national security with a focus really on broadly security and risk management. So one day we're working with Global 2000 firms to help them understand risk and respond to risk. We work with all of the leading tech firms around the globe to help them understand sort of the keys to grow. And then often that involves money. And so we're an investment bank where we've done over 7 billion in transactions, helping them identify who to buy and who to sell. And we have our own money, and so we own a few firms directly, and then we do minority investments in others. So we go get the meal, we cook the meal, and we eat it. But it's all something to do with security and risk management, and that certainly plays in things like IoT and cloud and mobility very important. I'm based right here in the building.
Okay, and you already met our last judge, which is Tarun. Who's Tarun? Yeah. So,
Hi everyone, I can introduce myself again. So I lead the accelerator here as the GB, and I've already talked about the 5 stages where we kind of support the startups, and so we are not a boot camp, we are a real tangible accelerator that will help you through your journey till the time you really get traction and you're successful. So that's what our differentiator is.
thank you, Tarun. Okay, the first startup to pitch is Catch-Eye.
We have some setup problems, so maybe someone else.
Someone else can start.
Okay, yeah.
Anyone
so
who's not
Isula?
using
Okay, so the first startup is going to be Nova. So please go ahead and start. And you have 5 minutes.
Maybe that's computer tutor.
Not exactly laid out like one okay.
Okay, we got it.
No change.
Okay.
Yeah, now we have to plug it back in.
Plug it back, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's here. It's already working.
Okay, we got it.
Oh, yeah, now it's good.
Okay, so I will time you for 5 minutes. So let us start.
sorry about that. My name is Claudia, and I'm the CEO of CatChat. And we are a spin-off from ETH Zurich, which is the largest technical university in Switzerland. And we work on improving visual communication. And what we do is we want to bring video calls as close as possible to a personal meeting. So I'm sure you know this experience when you Skype with someone, it doesn't feel the same way as when you talk to them in person. And then there's certain barriers that just still keep these awkward feelings when you communicate with someone. And one of them is that you can never make eye contact. You can see on him here, the eyes always go down because he's looking at the other person on screen and the camera is not at the same place. And then there's other things such as lighting and backgrounds which can really also incur misunderstandings and affect trust and respect and things like that. So we developed software to fix these problems, to help people communicate better online. And we have a software that's already compatible with most of the popular video call systems like Skype or Hangouts and Facebook Messenger. So let's have a closer look. We developed an algorithm that enables this eye contact by modeling the face in 3D. So here on the left, you see the input, and on the right is the corrected version where actually the person here is looking away from the camera, and then we fix this using image processing algorithm. Here you see it very clearly. And it works in real time. And this is something I developed during my PhD, and we also have a patent on it. We can also create this depth of field effect, so you don't want people reading the post-its behind you. Maybe we also have some privacy issues, so we can blur out the background as well. We can correct the lighting if you're sitting in front of a window. A lot of people have this problem that their face is completely black, so we make sure the face is actually visible. We have this automatic pan and zoom in feature also to help people focus on the faces and not the background. And finally, we can also correct this so-called selfie effect. When you go very close to the camera, your face gets distorted, so we can fix that as well. As mentioned, all this technology has been developed at the computer graphics lab, and the patent I also mentioned already. So here is more the business side. Right now we have a video call plugin that we give away for free, and whoever wants to download it can use it with the idea to get traction and also help, further develop the features by getting feedback from the users. We have a small freemium upgrade, so it's displaying this CatChat logo in the video feed. So whoever uses it also kind of spreads the message that there is this plugin, and for people who like to remove the logo and put their own data, they can buy a small upgrade. But then, of course, ultimately we need to integrate this directly into video call systems or hardware like webcams and laptops, so people have it directly integrated into their products. I don't have to download a separate plugin. So up to now, we released this MVP and established a user base and also explored some marketing channels, how to make this attractive for people, how to get people to download it. And we've already been approached by a few tech companies and are working with them to see how we can collaborate. And for a few weeks, we've now had our first customer, which is a manufacturer of cameras for mobile phones with whom we are doing a project to see how to integrate the technology. So far, we've been funded by some startup competitions and foundations, and we are just now floating our seed round. With that, we'd like to continue refining the technology and make it available to more users on more platforms like Mac and mobile, and open it up for licensing by the end of this year. So I hope you remember me the next time you have problems when you do video calls. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we open up to judges and anybody in the audience if you have questions or comments.
Talk to me a little bit about your OEM play. I mean, you said that you're working with some manufacturer, mobile phone manufacturer. So are you pursuing that OEM, other OEMs and different kinds of devices that can use your video technology?
Yeah, we are. So we are in fact talking to several of them, like webcam manufacturers or laptop manufacturers, or some of them that are having like a display screen for desktops. And to be honest, yeah, we are still figuring out a bit where it's going to be the way to go, because it's going to affect the software. If we integrate it into a video call system or onto a laptop, it will be a different kind of software that we have to build. Yeah, we are still figuring that out.
And this is more of a technology question, but so when you put an abstraction layer, when you put a layer in the middle of what do, you tend to get more latency than what is already accessible, right? So sometimes with these webcams that see video, so where are you exactly doing it? You're doing it on the client side of the blog?
We're doing it on the client side, so the way it's implemented, it's a camera driver. So it shows up as a new webcam on your system. So everything is done before the video is actually sent. And that's what makes it agnostic to all the video call systems. So you can install that camera on Skype or on Hangouts, and it works with all of them at the same time.
Are you doing some adaptation, or are you also kind of flipping some sort of video format, or you're not?
No, we're not touching the video format, not the compression, not the way it's sent over. Not, we are before that. Basically. Yeah.
So that means it's really fast.
Not necessarily, but so the delay is less than the delay that's introduced usually by the video call system. And we also do a lot on the GPU, which kind of, well, all the Skypes and so on, they run heavily on the CPU, so we can kind of go in parallel.
So Claudia, the two big use cases that I see for this, one is to get with one of the big guys, just go to Skype or Facebook, and they'll just tweet you up in 30 seconds, I think. Right? I mean, as in delicious food.
Mhm.
Right? And then the
Buying them out? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. That's why I said good food. Yeah. And then the second is like vertical use cases.
Mhm.
You know, like at the hospital, right? The hospital, when a doctor is talking to a patient or another surgeon, they need all of this. Like when you have manufacturing use cases, you know, like I've worked with the biggest shoe manufacturer in the world, and they have product teams that are in, you know, basically remote, and they have been manufacturers in China, for example, and half the time they have a problem in like looking at the design. They need this. So have you looked at those two elements? I think those are the two biggest, like, just going right.
Absolutely, there's a bit this one way we could go, which is the verticals. There's also things that are coming up that involve all these trust things, like you mentioned, interviewing or things like that, where it's really important to have this connection, or sales or counseling, online, things like that. And then there's the other way to just get it to the consumers, to the masses, and have, well, make it available to as many people as possible, right? So these are kind of the two.
Yeah, my view is more on the enterprise side, maybe that's also my experience.
Mhm.
From a standpoint of, you know, a big enterprise who has a big function, so they've already, you know, they have billions of dollars at stake on that communication going well. And you have a challenge, I assume, in terms of the hardware supportability. And if you're dealing with a fairly vertical use case, that's a manageable situation. Like Adidas shoe is going to have, you know, a certain type of hardware that they've already used as a corporate standard.
Mhm.
So you can say, okay, I've worked on these 5
Yeah.
webcams really well, and I provide this.
Yeah, I understand that the reason why we don't work with corporates so much yet is because we still need to iterate on the product, and then it just takes forever to do, like, to get feedback from them and test again. So that's why we give it for free, and we get so much faster the feedback from the users. But it might be something we have to look at in the future.
So I won't pretend to understand what the technology is, but let me ask, from an experience standpoint, does it have to be real time when you're actually doing a video call? Can you do something on existing video streams? Can you modify existing video streams? For example, YouTube has billions plus videos,
Mhm,
whatever.
I see.
Is there something you can do to that?
Yeah,
content?
sure, we can run it offline as well. Of course, we can run a video through the pipeline just to
So
save.
those can be corrected for whatever.
Yes, yes.
So
They
that's,
could- you
that's a
could do like
fairly large
a
market relative to,
post-process.
just content.
Yes, yes, it's an additional thing. We have a lot of YouTubers who want to accelerate the product development and the business. It's just so much more.
And where are you based?
In Zurich, Switzerland.
And is there intention to stay in Zurich, or are you going to?
Um, Well, that's what I'm here for, to explore. Well, of course, we already talked to many people who are here, and yeah, we have to be here physically as well
Yeah.
to really make this connection.
And how far will 1.2 million go?
1.5 years?
Technically, how far are you ahead of your competition?
It's hard to say. I hope we have a little bit of an edge. There's some research projects going on doing these eye contact things, but this is, at least to the best of my knowledge, is the furthest in commercialization.
Thank you so much. So we're going to take a quick break from the startups. We have some introduction to do here.
So guys, I would like to introduce Jody Monastrad, who's a partner of Venture Lab, who's actually bringing all this great thing together. So he will give us a little bit idea about the Swiss ecosystem, because some of these companies are coming from some amazing background. So Jody,
Thank you very much, Makulia. So I'm taking very much 30 seconds. I know that when you listen to pitches which are out of your context, sometimes there are a few reading points, particularly in the grid, which might not be obvious. I don't know how many of you are familiar with ETH or EPF, or those names are familiar, so that was a bit my fear. Whereas it would be like if somebody tells you Stanford Lab or something like it, and for you to directly cling and take a bus. So to give you background, all these companies are coming out of Switzerland. It was a process of a 2-year team. The selection was around 100 applicants, and typically they are spin-offs. So in Switzerland we have two top-level schools which are known at the global level. We see that most of them are alumni. ETH, which is the Polytechnical School in Zurich, and our Political School in Lausanne. So as soon as you hear that, you will know that at least their ambition is to be at the same level than MIT, Stanford, and many, typically I think Claudia didn't have time to mention it in this lab, that coming out of her lab are spin-offs which have been sold to Apple or have been sold to other very large corporations. I encourage you, all of you, the team, I forgot to do that in briefing, but remember to point out a couple of these things, because not everyone, for us, is very obvious. We're so used to pitch in our own environment that we even forget to mention. When you hear IP from those schools, it's also something that is very similar to what you have here. So the schools are very professional, are putting together a licensing system where the startup have access to the correct IP platforms in order to deploy and then protect their business. And that's all of I wanted as an introduction to have 30 seconds. And we at Venture Lab, of course, are like very close to what you do at BootUP, is building a global ecosystem where we are working at the international level with several ventures, and I'll be glad to be in touch afterwards. So much for the introduction, and so.
sense to put panels on your rooftop. It's hard in this field, hardware, to do everything by our own. And learning from past experience, we think we need to team up with corporates that have manufacturing and distribution experience. So the goal is to deliver a blueprint, something that works perfectly, and then leave someone else manufacturing and distributing. Because this is requiring a lot of manpower and a lot of expertise in production to do that. A few words about the team. We are 3 co-founders from Swiss Institute of Technology, Lausanne. Engineering background, but some industrial experience in the past, which we think is very helpful in that area. I work myself in the automotive industry with Japanese customers, so I know a bit what it is to have sensors in automotive and so on. So that's quite helpful today. And the team has increased. We are now 7 members, which are extremely motivated at making this project happen. It's all about making solar more competitive and trying to go beyond what it is today. It's already great in some areas, like you saw last year, US, 100% CAGR, great. But we can go beyond that and making it competitive in every single installation, not only utility scale. And as an end, I really wish that the BBC title is not only a title, but that it becomes true, and that this technology will become one of the next big energy players. So thanks a lot for your attention, and I'm looking forward for your questions.
Manufacturer players in China, even if you go to China, set up your technology company, you license your technology to the manufacturers, would that really solve the problem? I mean, they're already so cheap out there, right? And then, but people are not buying them here, and 9 cents per kilowatt is extremely cheap, right? I only get that in the midnight till 6 a.m. in the morning because I have a Tesla. I get this EV1 rate, so that's where I charge everything. But there got to be a lot more problems for adoptions, and it isn't about the panels.
I will make you a very simple case. You take a solar installation here in California. You buy solar panels from China, actually now very youngly.
Yeah.
It will account for 15% of the installation cost.
15%.
Yeah, 15. So whatever you do, whatever panels you choose, the solar electricity depends on the cost of labor, on the cost of transport, on the cost of the permitting. And they can go beyond with the cost. Now they are hitting something like a ceiling because they cannot decrease further the cost of electricity even if they give you the panels, because that depends more on the fixed cost. And that's exactly what we want to tackle with efficiency. And that's what Elon Musk is trying to tackle with merging roof with panels. It's another approach, but similar thinking of saying we need to tackle the overheads of installation in some ways, either by making something more profitable or either by making something that is the roof. And ultimately to do both together.
Well, Tesla's technology in terms of efficiency improvement, well, what is that?
Today it's quite low. It's around 15% what they're using. You never see Elon Musk talking about efficiency. There is good reason for that. His approach is really to say, you have to put a roof anyway. Let's put something that produces electricity. But of course, if it could produce more, it would be even better. And that's a bit the direction we are heading to. And by the way, it's not only us. I think if you look at what the industry wants, it's something that is more efficient. The problem is that with silicon today, you're limited to about 22% max, like what SunPower is doing. And we think we need something disruptive, not only a few percent, but something that is really much higher in production to be a game changer.
I mean, so far the 3 presentations, I think technology is wonderful. And I don't really hear the go-to-market, distribution, how you commercialize that whole thing. Maybe this is the whole group. But I'm fascinated with the technology.
Well, I can elaborate on that. How do you go and market in solar? It's a good question. I mean, that's the tricky part. As I said, we want to go with manufacturers in joint venture. We don't want to go by our own. So the question is, how do we convince these manufacturers to team up with us? And we're already in touch with some of them, either in Japan, either in Europe, or either in the US. And the idea is to say they need a blueprint because they don't want any technological risk. So they want to see pilot sites running. They want to see market validation. That's really what you are trying to build on right now. And you come with something where the performance is demonstrated, the lifetime is demonstrated, the cost is demonstrated. The business model becomes very simple because it's only about combining those numbers to get cost electricity. But of course, I'm not saying it's easy, it's very challenging.
How much money you raised?
So right now we raised 850K through grants and loans, and we are building the first seed round right now at 2.5 million. To be able to build first pilot sites, we are doing one right now in Switzerland, and we have one in the US, one in the UAE, and also start the norms qualification, really come up with results, because it's what is important in that industry, to convince the manufacturers later.
You get patented the process or efficiency process. Talk to me a little bit about that.
The patents? Yeah, we have 3 patents pending. 2 are on the optical designs and 1 are on the tracking algorithm. And yeah, it's all up, more than the patents, I think it's really, we take a lot of pride of making this thing work on rooftop and not only in the lab. And once you go from the lab to rooftops, there are so many aspects that you need to take care of in the design that I think the value at the end will not come from the paper, it will come from all those design tricks to make this work over 20 years.
Are there moving parts in the system?
Sorry?
Are there moving parts in the system?
Yeah,
Is it
so
tracking?
there is a physical law that tells you cannot concentrate light without movement. What people have been doing so far is to tilt on 2 axes, which you cannot do on a rooftop. So the whole idea of InsoLight is to say tracking should be done inside the panel with millimetric strokes. So we move by ±5 millimeter a day, which allows us to go to flexible guiding elements, which are very reliable. So the whole idea is to make a tracking that is integrated in the panel, and that's much more reliable than tracking around and rotating.
As a startup, you always have, everything's limited, resources, money, people, blah, blah. Leveraging is huge. Can you now replace the existing industry, but go to the biggest player of all and leverage them by, I guess, adding on your technology on top of their existing, leveraging everything?
Yeah.
Can you do that easily?
Yeah, that's part of the plan, to be like a technology adder on top of an existing panel.
Because they have the
That-
global footprint.
Yeah, that's part of it.
You can do that.
Yeah.
easily.
You can see that as an overlay that you
Yeah,
apply
that's
on the
what I
panel.
thought. Yeah, the
Yeah, that's,
optical layer on
yeah.
top.
You're right, I mean, probably the industry will not cannibalize the existing business, so it has to be somehow a smooth transition.
Yeah.
And there are some advantages of combining both. I have no time to elaborate on that, but that's a bit the idea, of course.
Okay.
One quick question. Do the other competitors' existing panels have moving parts, or are you the first one that can move?
Doing it that way, we're the first one. Actually, ARPAI last year founded about 10 projects in the US about this planar optical micro-tracking area, because it's becoming a hot topic in solar because it's a way really to boost efficiency. So far, no one has come with a validation like we did. So I would say that's probably the other ones that are trying the same approach. Different implementation, but same idea behind. Otherwise, panels are commoditized. It's silicon wafer that is spread on the full area. That's what a panel is.
Okay, thank you very much. So the next startup, please correct me if I'm saying it wrong, but I think it's wrong, but I think it's LoRa IoT, is that correct?
Could be in
Yeah.
the US. In France, they call it the Loriot.
Oh, there you go.
The Germans, or in German Switzerland, they pronounce it Loriot.
Oh, okay.
So it's the abbreviation of Long Range Internet of Things.
Oh,
That's what.
very good.
Let me. Now my computer is doing something. It should be alive. Sorry. So hello everyone, my name is Vito. I'm the technical CEO of Loriot. And what we are trying to build at Loriot is the equivalent of Android for the Internet of Things. But what I mean by Android is an enterprise operating system that is cloud-based. and an application platform where you can run your IoT application. And that all for Internet of Things at the large scale. So what's the problem with nowadays Internet of Things? Typically, your Internet of Things network is built up as a single purpose network. So you just get pieces of components from a single vendor, you deploy all the infrastructure and the sensors themselves to enable that. Our approach is turning things around, and it enables you to deploy the infrastructure just once, and on top of single infrastructure, you can run multiple applications at the same time. This means lower total cost of ownership of the network and faster return on investment on your network. And at the same time, this enables really large-scale deployments. So it's no longer just tens of sensors. We are talking about nationwide deployments with millions of sensors. How we do it is we have a portfolio of hardware manufacturers that build smart routers and IoT gateways. These partners are companies like Cisco, Foxconn, or Samsung. And we load our tailor-made software on top of these hardware boxes. These software boxes connect to our cloud, where we do all the sophisticated calculations and basically extract the raw payloads from the sensors. The sensors themselves are produced also by our hardware partners. We have at the moment hundreds of different types of sensors that are compatible with our system. The advantage of our technology is that these sensors can run up to 10 years on battery. They don't require any wires or any cabling. Everything is wireless, so you can just get the sensors, glue it anywhere you need to glue it, and forget about it. It will just run for 10 years from that. On the output side, we are able to feed data into your existing IoT platforms, into all kinds of cloud platforms, like the ones from IBM, Amazon, or Microsoft, and we are building applications ourselves for specific verticals. We are offering our core software as a service to anyone, so anyone in the world can buy this smart gateway from Cisco or whoever else, and load our software on it, and connect it to one of our cloud locations, which are seven in the world. You don't have to run our software in the cloud. We are so scalable that our software can run in the same shape on an embedded software, on an embedded hardware, on a server, or in a cloud. We have grown to more than 100 countries, so we have users in more than 100 countries worldwide. We have about 5,000 users in total. We have about 150 of them that are commercial customers who are paying for our services. They are ranging from small developers that have one gateway and devices to nationwide deployments. We have 11 on-premise deployments, which means we have licensed our software to 11 companies that run the software fully self-contained in their private.
What specific problem are you solving?
We are enabling the deployments of IoT networks that were previously not possible. Previously, if you wanted to deploy an IoT network, you would need to talk to a telco to help you with that. We are putting this technology to the hands of any type of company. So
talk to me a little bit about the firmware updates that you're doing. So I guess you can push to the sensors and to the IoT devices.
Yes.
Right? That's what you can do.
Yeah.
So I build a custom application on your platform, and then I can get the data from the sensors, and the firmware of the sensors and all the compatible gateways and devices can be pushed securely.
Yes.
That's what you're enabling.
Yeah, that we can do.
Which generally telecom already do it today. And there are some other platforms like, for all the companies, Technicolor has a platform called Build Data that is very parallel to what you're doing, right?
So the question is really on what scale can you do this and at what cost. So we bring this technology at a cost that makes sense for many business cases that are not possible to do with telcos. Because the money you have to pay to telco to connect a simple sensor is, in Europe, for example, €5 a year. We can do that for less than $1 a year per device. And the devices themselves are so simple that you can buy them for $10. And that's also not something you can do with 3G or 4G module, because just the cost of the module is $10. So we really unlock plenty of the cases that are commercially blocked in the existing technologies. We have a couple of competitors like Sigfox that can do similar things, so there we are really just hands-on and are fighting over go-to-market, over how much we spend on marketing, how much we educate people about advantages of the technologies.
So if I have an IoT device, it will be hacked because of you or despite you?
I think it's easier if you hack kind of one of the endpoint or one of the pieces in the cloud than going through the hassle of hacking the device itself. So you can hack the devices one by one. So you can try to extract the keys from the trusted platform modules and so on.
So this is my evil empire question. I become your customer, and then I get access to your cloud. And then if you're not sandboxed properly, I get access to your other customers' data. Can that happen? So ultimately what I'm going to is, in IoT, beyond the sensors, see, sensors have been around for 20 years. We're just calling them IoT today.
Yeah.
Right. Update services have been around for a while. Telcos have been around for a while. Telco-grade technologies have been around for a while. IoT security is becoming a big pain in the neck for everybody.
So that's basically why we don't go with the cloud approach, because the big companies just don't trust them. That's why we have the on-premise solution where the customer himself is responsible for securing the network environment. So we can deploy the software in a fully intranet environment where you are cut out of, you don't have a cable access to internet. You just run it fully isolated, and that's the only thing that our customers trust in. So the full control, full isolation. We enable that. So
the sensors can be generic sensors, or they have to be your?
They have to comply with an open standard. So you can buy either modules that you fit into the sensor, or you implement the software stack that's open source.
You have partnered with Z-Wave Alliance and Zigbee Alliance.
No, so there is, for the time being, there is a separate alliance around this specific technology. So, this is our current customer portfolio. So we enable plenty of the big companies to run their IoT use cases, because all they care about is the data, not about how the data actually gets to their application. So that's what we sort out for them. They pick a use case or a sensor value that they want to have. We get them the sensor, the router, and feed the data into it.
So this knowledge is in public domain, right? Right.
This is.
Can you tell me, for example, what are you doing for Hewlett Packard?
I had the same question as well.
So to be honest, I don't know, because they source the sensors themselves.
Okay.
So there we are acting just as the layer that gets the data which are already encrypted at the entry point to the IoT gateway, and we feed the data out in an encrypted state to the application layer. So we are acting as a telco which shouldn't have access to the customer data in this case.
So in general, where are you basically handing off? Like you have a sensor.
Yeah.
And there's maybe stepping back. 90+% of the IoT installations today, they're dealing with retrofit scenarios, which is I already have sensors, and I need to do something on top of that. Do you play anything in that space?
Yeah, so like water metering, electricity metering, gas metering, it's all about the cost of investment of moving to a specific technology. So many of the companies are able to software update their existing sensors to be compatible with our solution. Many of them have a meter that has a generic wired interface, so you can talk digitally to the meter, and you just exchange an add-on module, which in our case is a matter of, I don't know, $5 maybe per water meter, plus the effort to bring somebody in.
One more question.
There's a physical device that you're putting.
So your
Sorry, I take many of these things for granted. So
Long range.
long range means in free space we have reached 300 kilometers from the gateway to the endpoint in Europe. In US we have reached like 120 miles from a mast of I don't know 100 meters. I don't know how much of this in Eurometrics to these sensors. So this sensor is sending with like less power than a normal Wi-Fi would send. And the advantage of the technology is that we can decode below the noise level. So we can go down to minus 10 dBm or things like that. And still decode it. So
Can you pick one of these and just go through why they did it and how you make money?
yes, let me figure out which is the best use case. So we are working with the city of Zurich. They are smart. They are going after smart city deployments. What they got from us is a portfolio of sensors they deploy, and they are figuring out now where the most added value is. So they are working with electricity metering company that provides also the cable optical infrastructure, and they use the electricity metering data to predict consumption and production of electricity, which they can they can trade electricity and generate revenue from trading more efficiently. They optimize street lighting infrastructure, where they save a lot by moving from autonomous solution or semi-autonomous timed solution to something that really reacts or that you can control better. With this solution, you can optimize the usage of the street light. They are monitoring basically the quality of life for the citizens of the city, where the value proposition is a little more difficult because you cannot directly put price on it, but it's about reducing pollution by optimizing traffic, by optimizing where people park, so smart parking solutions, smart traffic controls. We have security solutions that can be used by basically anyone in the city. So you can glue sensors to doors and windows and know occupancy of different rooms or prevent theft. So there's really a lot of things. Not always the added value is immediately tangible. So what the customer typically tries to do is deploy something in the smart metering, where they know how they get the money, and then try to build up a couple of other things to really shorten the return on investment.
Thank you very much. So the next company is Orange.
Let's try to make this thing work.
I think it would be easy. Don't take any plugin, just simply connect with the application.
So, hello, I'm Laurent, from founder and CEO of BootUP. It's a rapid application development platform that goes all the way down to production. We've built that a team of 8 high-skilled software developers. We've built a tool, a platform to allow doing that. So the problem, as you know, software development is something very abstract. It's far away from what we are, what the human being is built of. Sorry, it goes again.
it was you.
It wasn't. Tries to throw.
We are in the year of 7,424 and still nothing works.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
Well, it works, we're just too trusting.
Okay. So stop playing.
Yeah,
sure. Okay, thanks.
Do it again.
So software development is obviously very abstract. It's far from what we are used to do as a human being. Playing with Legos, for example, is something very intuitive. You see what you build, you've got the pieces. While you build them, you see the result. It's very intuitive. You got it. It's exactly what we try to do, what we have mimicked in our platform to develop software. So we have divided software development into 3 pillars: user interface design, logic design, and data model design. So how do you build software on our platform? You go on the platform, you drag and drop the UI like you would build some slides. You do the same with the logic, you do the same with the data. And while you do that, you'll be amazed to see it happening in real time on the smartphone, for example, or a tablet, and you can use it right away without compiling, without reloading, without anything. The logic is being pushed to the device. The market is the mobile app development platform. It's a large and growing market. So it's a $50 billion market. We have a SaaS business model. We have one version, is the Olymp Enterprise. We are selling the platform to the enterprise. We're selling it to the IT department, and the users are business teams, typically business analysts, designers, and product owners. So the IT is managing the backend, the interaction between Olymp and the enterprise systems, and the business users are doing the mock-ups, are doing the designs, and once they have done the tool, they have tested it with the end users, they are already in production, they can use it in the day-to-day life. Then we will be rolling out in 2018 Olymp Professional. So here it's not anymore the enterprise that will release their own software, it's people that will build software for their own customers. And finally, we will target Olymp Marketplace for people like freelancer will build some piece of logic, some piece of data, and some piece of UI that they can exchange with the enterprises. So the technology is a functional reactive programming done visually. Everything is deployed to the end node of the network. Data is synchronized across the devices, so you can build collaborative applications that have a sub-millisecond latency on a good network. Regarding security, you've got end-to-end encryption that allows you to save that to encrypt the data endpoint side. Not only the data, but as well the UI and your algorithm, so that not even Olymp knows what's going on the customer's systems. One thing to note is that we are not linked to the web technology. We can render that typically on devices that cannot run web technology, like smartwatches